For a long time, I've been wanting to start a series about the persecution of Jews in Arab countries throughout history. And I will begin this series with the largest Jewish community in the Islamic world, Morocco. This is a story many people don't know, and some even deny. There's a popular myth that Jews lived well under Islamic rule, but this is simply not true. From Iran in the east to Morocco in the west, Jews faced persecution. Today we will focus on Morocco. Jews arrived in Morocco about 2,000 years ago, during the Roman Empire. They settled mainly in coastal cities and were heavily involved in trade. Keep that in mind, it will be important later. In the 8th century, Islam arrived in Morocco, and from that moment on, Jews lived under Islamic rule, according to the Pact of Omar, the legal framework governing non-Muslims in Islamic territories. Jews were classified as dhimmis, or protected people. That protection came with a price, extra taxes, and numerous restrictions. They couldn't build new synagogues, couldn't ride horses with the settlers, and had to wear distinctive clothing, among many other limitations. Were these laws enforced all the time? No. And that leads us to the essential point. Jewish life under Islam was inconsistent. There were periods of relative freedom and prosperity, and periods of brutal persecution, oppression, and massacres. Everything depended on the ruler and the era. The first Muslim ruler of Morocco, Idris I, the country's founding father, persecuted Jews and forced many to convert to Islam. His son was more tolerant, granting Jews more freedom. He made Fez his capital, turning it into one of the most important Jewish centers in North Africa. But Fez was also the site of horrific pogroms in which thousands of Jews were murdered. There is a strong parallel between the roles Jews played in medieval European kingdom and those they played in North Africa. Jews were traders, and they had two massive advantages. First, almost all Jewish men could read and write, while over 90% of the non-Jewish population could not. Second, Jews had a common linguistic foundation, Biblical Hebrew. While a Jew in the Atlas Mountains might not fluently convert with a Jew in the Rhine Valley, they could communicate due to shared Semitic linguistic roots. This gave them a significant advantage in international trade and earned them senior roles in both European and Islamic courts. Another reason Jews were trusted in royal courts, they posed no threat to the throne. Imagine a Moroccan king appointing his brother or cousin to a sensitive financial role. There was always the risk of betrayal. But a Jewish advisor, the king could rest easy. No Jewish advisor ever tried to seize power or convert an entire kingdom to Judaism. It never happened. Not in Morocco, Iraq, France, or Germany. Not in the 9th century and not in the 17th century. An interesting fact that tends to be ignored. Judaism simply doesn't aim to conquer the world. In contrast, Muslims, according to Islamic theology, aspire for the whole world to accept Islam. The same goes for Christianity, which is why missionaries were sent across the globe to spread Jesus' message. Modern ideologies echo this. The Nazis wanted global denomination. The communists wanted the world to go red. Of course, I'm not equating Christians with Nazis or Muslims with communists. I'm saying these worldviews all had a global vision. Judaism doesn't. Yet Jews are always accused of wanting to control the world. In truth, those making that assumption are the ones with imperial ambitions. But back to Morocco. Fez became a major Jewish hub. One often overlooked Jewish scholar from this period was Yehuda ibn Quraysh. He was one of the first to identify linguistic roots shared by Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic, understanding the deep connections between these languages that we nowadays call Semitic. But this era ended in bloodshed. In 1033, a fanatical Muslim ruler conquered Fez and murdered 6,000 Jews. Many Jewish women were forced to convert to Islam. This was not an isolated event. In 1066, under Muslim rule in Granada, Spain, there was another pogrom. Muslims murdered the king's Jewish advisor and slaughtered the city's Jews. A few quiet generations passed, then came the rise of the Almohads, an extremist Islamic dynasty controlling the whole region. Thousands of Jews were killed or died for refusing to convert. This was the era of Maimonides, the most famous Jew to live under Islamic rule. Maimonides, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, also known as the Rambam, was a leading Jewish philosopher, legal scholar, and physician of the 12th century. He authored the Mishneh Torah, a comprehensive code of Jewish law, and a guide for the perplexed, a philosophical work that brings faith and reason. Born in Spain, his family fled to Fez because of persecution. His time in Fez was also marked by danger. His teacher, Rabbi Yehuda HaKohen Ibn Susan, was given the choice: convert to Islam or die. He chose death. This likely led Maimonides' family to flee again to Egypt. Maimonides later wrote a series of letters to Jewish communities suffering under Islam, advising those forced to convert to flee when possible to places where they could practice Judaism again. Many Jews did, escaping Islamic lands to Christian Europe. After the fall of the Almohads, the Marinid dynasty took power and was more tolerant. Jewish life flourished during this period, but even then, Jews were confined to special Jewish quarters called mellahs. Those ghettos were walled off, Jews were not allowed out at night, and overcrowding led to poverty and diseases. The mellahs became one of the most known symbols of Jewish life in Morocco from the 14th century to today. As Marinid power weakened, more pogroms followed. In 1465, Muslims broke into the mellahs in Fez and murdered thousands of Jews. I won't go into every dynasty that ruled Morocco, but there is a clear pattern. When the regime was unstable or the economy struggled, Muslims often turned on the Jews, scapegoating them in riots, justified by religious rhetoric. In 1492, Spain expelled the Jews. Later, Portugal followed. This was a turning point in Jewish history. An estimated 100,000 Jews were expelled from Spain. Some went to the Ottoman Empire, others to Morocco. King Muhammad el-Sheikh welcomed them, and Fez again became a center of Jewish life. Historian Ibrahim ben Solomon, one of the expelled, called the king a righteous among the nations. And let me add this: any society that welcomes the Jews will thrive, and any society that rejects them, sooner or later, starts to decline. Yes, I know that's a bold statement, but history shows us there are very few exceptions. The Jewish people are a successful minority. Wherever they go, they bring growth, innovation, and blessing. Those who embrace them gain. Those who envy them, attack them, or drive them out lose. The native Moroccan Jews and the newcomers from Spain form separate communities for many years. The following centuries saw heavy taxation and more violence against Jews in Morocco. I will skip ahead to one of the most famous episodes, the story of Sol Hachuel. Born in 1817 to a respected Jewish family, Sol was accused by a Muslim neighbor of converting to Islam and then denouncing it, an accusation she denied. According to Islamic law, a Muslim denouncing Islam is punished by death, even today in many Muslim countries. The governor tried to persuade her to embrace Islam, promising her wealth and protection. When she refused, he threatened her. "I will load you with chains. I will have you torn apart by wild beasts. You shall not see the light of day. You shall perish of hunger and experience the rigor of my vengeance and indignation in having provoked the anger of the prophet." Her response was legendary. "I will patiently bear the weight of your chains. I will give my limbs to be torn by wild beasts. I will renounce forever the light of day. I will smile at your indignation and the anger of your prophet, since neither he nor you have been able to overcome a weak female." Despite Jewish efforts to save her, Sol was executed in 1834. A Christian eyewitness wrote, "The Muslims, whose religious fanaticism is indescribable, prepared with their accustomed joy to witness the horrid sin. The Jews of the city were moved with the deepest sorrow, but they could do nothing to avert it. Sol was buried in Fez, and her grave remains a pilgrimage site to this day. Every shift in Morocco's leadership brought new violence. The worst pogrom was the 1912 Tritle massacre in Fez, when Morocco became a French colony. Crowds stormed the mellahs and murdered dozens of Jews. Pogroms had also occurred in Casablanca in 1907, Setat, and Taza. Under French rule, many anti-Jewish laws were abolished. For the first time in centuries, Jews could live anywhere in the city. But after Israel's founding, the situation deteriorated. Pogroms broke out again, notably the 1948 riots in Ujda, where dozens of Jews were killed. Before I conclude, I will discuss Moroccan Jewish immigration to the land of Israel. And I say the land of Israel deliberately, not just the state of Israel. Jews from Morocco have made aliyah to Israel for centuries. Aliyah means going up in Hebrew. When a Jew immigrates to Israel, he is not immigrating, he is coming up to where he belongs. Anyway, Jews from Morocco have made aliyah to Israel for centuries. In the 13th century, following Almohad persecution, the Moroccan community in Jerusalem grew. In 1846, the Moroccan ruler wrote to the governor of Tangier, "The rich Jews, may God curse them, are increasing their pilgrimage to the land of Israel, causing us to lose the jizya tax. Stop them, and may God destroy them." But the flow continued. I'm speaking now from the North African Jewish Heritage Center, located in Machane Israel neighborhood of Jerusalem. This was the second neighborhood outside of the old city of Jerusalem, and it was founded by North African Jews in 1875, before modern Zionism even began. Please note the year, 1875. The modern Zionist movement began in Europe at the end of the 19th century, because nationalism and the nation-states were European inventions. But Moroccan Jews were already building neighborhoods in Jerusalem before that time. And why? Jews always felt connected to Jerusalem, whether they lived in Europe or North Africa. Even some of Jaffa's early Jewish neighborhoods were built by Jews from North Africa families, like the Shlush and Amzaleg families. Yosef Nabon, who built the railway from Jaffa to Jerusalem, was also of North African descent. I mention this because most Israelis don't know this, and because people who claim Zionism is just a European colonial project don't know what they are talking about. After Israel's founding, it became clear that the Jews in Arab countries were in grave danger and had to be rescued. A mass immigration followed. 90,000 Jews made aliyah from 1949 to 1956. Morocco gained independence in 1956. The king, Muhammad V, promised that Jews would enjoy equal rights and even appointed a Jewish minister. But the Jewish community lived in fear and their conditions got worse. Arab nationalism was tainted by anti-Semitism. Just like in Europe, Jews were seen as a foreign element. To this day, Mein Kampf remains one of the best-selling books in Arab world. However, Morocco did not allow immigration, so Jews had to flee illegally, leaving their property behind. In 1961, a boat named Egoz sank while carrying Jewish refugees. This tragedy attracted global attention, and afterwards, Israel struck a deal with Morocco. Israel would pay Morocco for each Jew allowed to leave. By 1967, tens of thousands of Jews had left Morocco, and the Jewish community almost perished. And yet, that story is rarely told. You see, Jews from Arab countries never hurt Muslims, but they had to flee because they were persecuted. They left everything behind and had to start all over. But no one talks about them or claims that they should be offered any special treatment. On the other hand, the Arabs of Palestine lost a war they started and fled, and it seems that the world can't stop spiraling about them being victims and refugees. At its peak, Morocco's Jewish community numbered 250,000. Today, only about 1% of 2,500 remain, which is, by the way, the largest Jewish population in any Arab country. If you want to learn more about this community and this lost world, visit the North Africa Jewish Heritage Center in Jerusalem. It's located right between the Old City and the Machne Yehuda Market. Just be sure to schedule a visit in advance. Soon, a restaurant will open here that serves Moroccan food. The link will be here below the video. And share this video with the Jews whose families came from Morocco. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next episode in this series will probably be about the Jews of Yemen. If you have anything to add about Moroccan or Yemeni Jewry, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to thank all my supporters. See you next week. Yalla bye.